Imagine this. You open your fridge late at night, everything is quiet. Your eyes land on a simple yogurt cup sitting in the corner. It looks completely normal. No strange color, no weird smell, nothing feels off. But then you notice the date. Expired yesterday. And suddenly, that harmless yogurt feels like a risky decision. Your brain kicks in instantly. Is this dangerous? Should I throw it away? Or am I overthinking this? Here's the part no one really tells you. That tiny printed date might not mean what you think it does. Every single year, people throw away billions of dollars worth of perfectly edible food. Not because it's spoiled, not because it's unsafe, but because of one small label that we've been taught to fear. But what if most expiration dates aren't actually about safety at all? To understand this, we need to go back. Long before expiration dates existed, people relied on something much simpler. They trusted their senses. If milk smelled sour, they didn't drink it. If food looked bad, they threw it out. No confusion, no second guessing. It worked for thousands of years. So why did we suddenly need dates? Because food changed. It started traveling long distances, sitting on shelves for weeks, being sold to millions of strangers who had no idea where it came from or how it was handled. Companies needed a way to standardize quality, protect consumers, and avoid legal problems. So they introduced dates. But here's the key detail most people miss. Those dates were never meant to be strict safety warnings. They were created as guidelines. And that changes everything. Because when you look closer, there isn't just one type of expiration date. There are several, and each one means something completely different. Best before is the most misunderstood one. It doesn't mean the food suddenly becomes dangerous after that date. It simply means the product may start losing quality. Maybe the texture isn't as good, maybe the flavor fades, but in many cases, it's still perfectly safe to eat. Then there's use by. This one actually matters. You'll usually see it on foods that spoil quickly, like fresh meat, fish, or certain dairy products. After this date, the risk of harmful bacteria increases. This is the one you shouldn't ignore. And then there's sell by, which might surprise you the most. This date isn't even for you. It's for the store. It tells retailers how long they should keep a product on the shelf. It doesn't mean the food becomes unsafe the next day. So when people say, this food is expired, they're often mixing up completely different meanings. But here's where things get even more interesting. In many countries, there are no strict universal rules for these dates. That means manufacturers decide them themselves. They run tests. They check how food behaves under certain temperatures, packaging conditions, and storage times. Then they choose a date that guarantees the product still meets their quality standards. Not the last safe day, just the last day it's at its best. And because companies want to protect themselves from risk, they usually play it safe. They set the date earlier than necessary, which means in many cases, your food actually lasts longer than the label suggests. This is especially true for foods like rice, pasta, canned goods, chocolate, and honey. These products don't suddenly turn bad overnight. If stored properly, they can last months, sometimes even years beyond the printed date. And yet, people throw them away anyway. Why? Because we trust the number more than we trust ourselves? But the truth is, your senses are still one of the most powerful tools you have. Smell, texture, and appearance can often tell you more than a printed date ever could. Of course, that doesn't mean you should ignore all expiration dates. Some of them exist for a reason. Fresh meat, seafood, and unpasteurized dairy can become dangerous if kept too long. But for many everyday foods, the date is more of a guide than a rule. It's not a switch that suddenly turns food toxic overnight. It's just a suggestion based on quality. And once you understand that, everything changes. Because now, instead of reacting out of fear, you can make smarter decisions. You waste less. You save money. And you stop throwing away food that's still perfectly fine. So the next time you open your fridge and see a date that makes you hesitate, pause for a second. Look closer. Trust your senses. Because sometimes, the biggest mistake isn't eating food past its date. It's throwing it away when it didn't need to be.